The hippo that tried to kill me was no stranger, we had met him several times before. I was 27 and owned a business that delivered clients on the Zambezi River near Victoria Falls. I've worked this stretch of river for years, and the grumpy old 2-ton bull occasionally makes a half-hearted attack. I learned to avoid him. Hippos are territorial, and I knew where he was most likely to be at any given moment. That day I took the clients out with 3 guides, Mike, Ben and Evans, all in kayaks. We were nearing the end of the tour, the light was getting softer and we were getting calmer. The solid blow I felt behind me surprised me. I turned around just in time to see Evans, who had been thrown from the kayak, fly through the air. His boat, still carrying his 2 clients, was lifted halfway out of the water on the back of a huge bull hippopotamus. There was a cluster of rocks nearby and I yelled at the nearest disciple to lead everyone there to safety. Then I turned the boat around and paddled furiously toward Evans. I reached out to grab his outstretched hand, but as our fingers were about to touch, I was engulfed in darkness. There was no transition at all, no sense of impending danger. As if I suddenly went blind and deaf. I was aware that my legs were surrounded by water, but my upper half was almost dry. I seemed to be trapped in something slimy. It was a horrible sulfurous smell, like rotten eggs, and a terrible pressure on my chest. My arms were trapped, but I managed to free one hand and felt around. My palm ran through the wire bristles of the hippopotamus snout. Only then did I realize I was underwater, trapped up to my waist in his mouth. I squirmed as hard as I could and managed to escape in the few seconds it took to open its jaws. I swam toward Evans, but the hippo struck again and pulled me back under the surface. I had never heard of a hippo attacking repeatedly like this, but it clearly wanted me dead. A hippo's mouth has huge tusks, incisors, and lots of smaller chewing teeth. It felt like the bull was taking full advantage of the lot when it mauled me. The doctor later counted nearly 40 puncture wounds and bites on my body. The bull just went crazy, threw me in the air and caught me again, shaking me like a dog with a doll. Then we went down again, all the way to the bottom, and everything stopped. I remember looking out over 10 feet of water at the green and yellow light playing on the surface and wondering which of us could hold our breath the longest. Blood rose from my body in clouds and a sense of resignation washed over me. I have no idea how long we stayed there. Time passes very slowly when you're in the mouth of a hippo. The hippo suddenly came to the surface and spat me out as it rose. Mike was still waiting for me in his kayak and managed to paddle to safety. I was a mess. My left arm was crushed to pulp, blood was pouring from the wounds on my chest, and when Mike examined my back he found a wound so savage that my lung was visible. Fortunately, he knew first aid and was able to cover my chest wounds with a wrapper from a snack tray, which almost certainly stopped my lungs from collapsing and saved my life. A medical team happened to be nearby on an emergency drill, and with their help I stayed alive long enough to get to the hospital with a surgeon. He warned me that he would probably have to take off both of my arms and the lower part of my injured leg. In the end I only lost my left arm. They were able to patch up the rest. Evan's body was found down the river 2 days later. Attempts were made to find and kill the rogue hippo, but it appeared to have gone into hiding. However, I am convinced that I met him once more. 2 years later I was leading an expedition up the Zambezi, and as we passed the section where the attack had taken place, a huge hippo emerged from the water next to my canoe. I screamed so loud that clients said they had never heard anything like it. He dived back and was never seen again. I'd bet my life savings it was the same hippo, determined to have the last word.